The chat completely froze up on me. So we're going to start again with our very special guest, Mr. Russell Alexander Hall, who is one of the greats in the jazz music world. So we're going to pick up where we left off. And I know you guys have some questions for him. I'm super excited. Today has been an amazing day so far. It's been challenging, but we're back. Island Yankee Fraternal, type your comments in the question box again, and I'll give them to Russell and we can answer them. And Russell is back, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize again about that because the chat just completely stopped. It froze. So we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, our chat froze up on us, but we were talking about advice you would give to the next generation. You said you didn't really have any advice, but there are so many up and coming jazz musicians out there that are looking to be the next Russell Alexander Hall, the next Ben Williams, the next George Duke, that are looking to follow in you guys' footsteps and get their feet in jazz music, which is not easy and it takes practice. And I think that was one of the questions that our paternal Island Yankee had for you. Who was one of your favorite bass players that you looked up to growing up, getting into this music?
Oh well, I I don't know why. Weird echo. Oh, it's gone now.
Okay.
Um, I'd say probably Charles Mingus is number one for me because
Ooh.
he did everything. Composed music, was a virtuosic bass. His music with a lot of themes and of human. I I kind of subscribe to social justice or creating fiction, whatever. He just had a lot of depth to his music, and I'd say as a bass, that's number one always. But as I develop more, I look at other people's careers, such as like Charlie Hayden. I see like the depth of what that kind of you know represents in the music, which is this this figure that like was a teacher, was improviser, was a realist when it came to music and everything that it stood for. Um, and of course, I have to give it up to Ron Carter because Ron Carter is my sensei. So that's the done deal right there. It's like every time I pick up the bass, the first person I think of is Ron Carter, and he is one of my biggest mentors. He's given me so many resources to learn how to do what I do. So I owe a lot to him as well, you know. Um, but yeah, and then newer people too. Like I really admire Thundercat. I really admire Raphael Sadiq. Um, people like that who have developed their careers as bassists and singers and have evolved into like household names. Um, and I also think of it's hard to just think about the bass too. There's so many great musicians that I love, but as a bassist, I'd say, those people have Derek Hodge. His body of work and the depth of what he does. I mean, it's legendary and so inspiring. And yeah, and of course, you got to give it up to Christian McBride. Like Christian McBride is, that was my first love on the bass. That was the reason I started doing what I did, and to see how he has been a facilitator of the music is arguably some of the best that's ever been done, especially by a musician, because oftentimes we as musicians don't have the reins on the music, and he is somebody that has taken the reins on the music and given the musicians what they need. And that you just on that alone, you gotta be real about that. We oftentimes don't get to call the shots on what we do, but to have somebody there that does what we do and is somebody that does you know, it changes the game for us as musicians. So yeah,
And
those
then
people right there.
yeah, and then the next generation follows on the next generation's footsteps and so forth and so on. I'm going to read some of you guys' comments. Cat River says Russ is a great singer, an amazing singer. And I heard his voice on again. My favorite single is Day Hope, which is one of my favorites. Um, Cat Rivers is applauding.
Oh, thank you.
Magnus says, you are my favorite bass player. How does it feel to know that your music has had an impact on other people, not just me, but other people worldwide, all over the world that are listening to you?
I mean, it means the world. That's I create music for people, and the people
Mm,
are important. So I always give love to the people, you know, and I'm always trying to figure out what the people need and what they want. Like but at this and develop that with everything that we learn about the music and how we grow as musicians. So both of those things to me are just like bar none the reason why I do what I do. So if in any way I bring some level of joy or happiness, it means the world to me, you know, and to know that it it stands out in your mind as opposed to any of the other stuff that you may hear, that also propels me to make more music and to go deeper into what the process is as a writer and a composer and a singer. So all of the above. Yeah.
absolutely. Let me see. We got a question from Alan Yankee. Alan Yankee wants to know what bass player that you experienced as a child to say that is what I want to become.
Oh, Charles Mingus. You know, it's
Oh,
still always. It's funny. It's a toss up because when I first learned how to play the electric bass, it was Marcus Miller. Like I'd never heard somebody play the bass like that before. And then as I developed more on the, electric bass, I started to notice the music from my home of Jamaica that really resonated with me. And I was like, man, why do I love this stuff so good? And you know, then I started getting into Family Man and the Wailers and trying to learn that music. And I mean, it's just I never forget the day that I heard Charles Mingus, and it just really changed the entire world for me because it was so aggressive, but so melancholic at the same time. You know, it's just that juxtaposition or that contrast is that's some of the best music I've ever heard, and that is really the thing that propelled me and finding my identity, next to Charles Mingus and being like, oh, I relate to a lot of the themes of his music. So that's really it.
and it has an impact on you, and we can see that through some of your pieces as well
Oh,
too. Just that
oh,
perfect
oh.
amount of. Do we have any questions for myself or Russell, ladies and gentlemen? Shout outs to my brother Jay Evans if you're in here. Definitely head on over and check out his talk show and platform as well too. He sat with some amazing people that are in the music industry as well. Um, a few familiar faces you might know. So definitely head on over, subscribe to Jay Evans Talk on YouTube as well too. Do we have any questions for Russell? And there's a question for you. Any advice you would give to drummers out?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say honestly, the thing that helped me was playing with great drummers. But something that's so simple is just hit up one of your favorite bass players or who you like to play with often, and just go into the practice room and put on a metronome and just play time. Just play with play with the bass player and find people that you really love to play with, and that can not only make it feel nice when you're playing with them, but also, teach you and inspire you or challenge you as a drummer, you know. Because sometimes bass and drums can fight, but if you find somebody that understands your beat or understands where you know, whether you play ahead or you play behind, who understands that dance. So find people that can dance.
First time I'm hearing you talk music. Nail 23 says, I thought you was mute. He's just, he's deep into his craft. And do you follow the changes when you solo? That is from Mike Watt.
um I play the song. I don't really think about changes. I play what the song is,
Mm,
because I don't want to get too technical, but you know, almost everything can kind of be quantified to either attention or release. So it's just a matter of figuring out where those tensions and releases are. Obviously, you know, if you're dealing with, you know, 12-note music, you got to learn what notes work for certain chords and stuff. But once you develop an idea of how songs are developed and why certain chords are played, then it kind of changes the game. But for me, because I've been doing it so long now, I'm learning, okay, it's about building a story more than it is like, okay, this scale works over this chord. So it's more about the song for me, and the meaning, like the deeper meaning.
yeah, absolutely. Ethan says, love it. Thank you. Do we have any other questions for myself or Russell? My question for you is, where do you see your career? Because we are now almost through with the months. The months are going out so fast. 2023 for you. What do you predict is next for the future of jazz music and jazz musicians?
Well, I think that the future of jazz is in itself kind of already happening. Like people are already
Mm,
what
shit.
they're the future is, you know, they're incorporating electronics but with upright bass and acoustic instruments and acoustic piano. So a lot of or they're experimenting with Logic, and they're experimenting with, you know, recording and how that works in a live setting. So to be honest, I really think that's already kind of happening. What I am interested in is seeing what the future of our audiences will be, you know, and how do we develop with our audience, and what is our audience looking for, and how are they viewing our music, how are they listening to our music. Is it going to be that we're going to exist in the metaverse? Is it going to
Yeah,
be that, you know, that we don't play live shows as much for revenue anymore? Like, well, I'm just curious to see that, and I think that's really the question of the future of jazz. You know, because everybody's doing so much. They're engaging their communities. They're experimenting with electronics. They're trying to find new sounds and new concepts and new ideas of playing. But what makes jazz happen is the people. And so I'm more concerned with what is the future of how we perform for people. But
absolutely. And I slowly see the shift happening as well too with technology. We're now in a ever since this pandemic hit, it took us all by storm. We never predicted this to happen. We see the shift, and I see what you're saying with, you know, what directions do audience, what do they want for the show? And the metaverse coming up. So many things have now become technologicalized. That's a word I came up with. Whereas it's like, okay, I miss being in person. I want that feeling of being able to go to and sit through a jazz concert, sit in a concert where hip hop or so many things and get that feeling. Like I know everybody wants that feeling.
yeah, everybody does, and we've been deprived from it and
Mm,
reintroduced to it in a very
yeah,
kind of slap and dash way. It's like all of a sudden the world's back open and we got to just make it happen. So, you know, by 2023, we're going to see some dramatic transformations
yeah,
because we've all been outside now for a year. So, and hopefully with the, you know, the advent of more medicine in favor of, you know, the new variants and stuff, it will it will be something that is greater than what it once was, because we all remember what it was. We didn't even think about it when we went to go hear a concert. You just go. You didn't even think, oh, it's, I got to wear a mask, and not a lot of people are going to be there because they're afraid or whatever. So
Right. And it's risk taking, it's chance taking, but people will literally go to their wits end to see their favorite performer in concert. Like that feeling, people miss that feeling, and there's nothing better than being able to sit and enjoy the feeling of the audience. Whereas I've seen people perform, and it's just like, wait, this is very, very awkward because there's really no audience there. It's just the band and the actual singer or musician right there on stage. It's not an audience, but people want that feeling. But you've given us that through 2020 to 2021 with your concerts here on Instagram, and being able to sit and experience it come out perfect.
oh man, that means a lot, because that was a hard time, and it still is kind of a hard time because we're readjusting. But you know, it's always reassuring when people give you support. So I'm grateful, and I thank you for checking out my stuff and being there, and continuing to inspire others to do what I do. So
And you already do it. Shout outs to Carlo. Carlo says, Russell, you're such an inspiration.
oh, thank you.
Again, your music has an impact. Your power, your lyric, your artistry has an impact. So that's why I put you in the category up there with Ben Williams and Ron Carter and George Duke, because your work has been prolific. You've been doing this for a long time, and it's inspired so many people. The power of jazz music in itself has a power to touch people, like gospel. Gospel
Oh,
inspires. Jazz puts you in a zone. It's just something about it. It relaxes. And my father put me on to Wynton Marsalis and George Duke and all of these other great musicians out here that do jazz music. So,
oh man, thank you so
yeah.
much. That means the world to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Keep inspiring people. Keep inspiring people. And you do that through your music. And I can't wait to see what else is coming for you in the future with these projects that you announce, and you infusing all of these different music genres together, which you do perfectly. You give us the perfect blend of, it's like creating a stew or a pasta. You give us your own version of your own stew where you mix hip hop, you mix a little bit of that Caribbean flair, and you mix jazz together, and it blends perfect. So yeah. Ethan wants to know, are you planning any clinics?
Well, I have a bunch of students in my studio. I also teach at the new school, so I have some students there, and just private. But I'm free to do master classes. I did a bunch of them this year. Did a couple things in Indiana, and also did a couple things in Florida. But um, I'm open to doing clinics whenever, and I love to teach large ensembles, small ensembles, anything. At this point, it's all one for me. So,
Jack, you're literally the jack of all trades. You do it all. You wear many hats, and it's about that balance, which you do excellently. And
uh,
B Hap Boone says, what up, Russ? Do we have any questions for the man of the hour here, Mr. Russell Alexander Hall, ladies and gentlemen? Today has just been an amazing day. You got fashion and you get jazz, with just the perfect blend, because art repeats itself and it blends in perfectly. So shout outs to my girl Babs. You guys can check out that interview. That one is up right now. We were talking the fall fashion forecast and the future. And 6 of 1 wants to know any gigs coming up in Cleveland.
not in the books right now, but just spread the word. I'll come to Cleveland. I love Cleveland.
Ethan says, when you come down to ATL, I'll buy you a drink.
I just missed you. I was playing in Atlanta with Etienne Charles, so I'll be back. I'll be back real soon. So,
And B Hampton wants to know, are you coming back to North Carolina soon?
do I have anything? Not to my knowledge, but I was just in North Carolina as well. I was in Atlanta about a month ago, and I was in North Carolina back in June. So
Do we
hopefully,
have any more questions? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just
I'm reading some of you guys' comments, make sure that I didn't miss anything. Do you get a lot of requests? Ben wants to know, B Hep wants to know, how when you do, bro, let's hang.
yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, do you get a lot of requests to come to certain cities to perform? Because a lot of people
Yeah,
want you in
yeah.
cities.
I,
Yeah.
I, I do, and it's starting to grow a little bit more now. Definitely in starting to happen more in the Northeast, but um, trying to look to do more stuff in the South anytime. So
We need it down here in the Carolinas, some jazz. We're
yeah,
known for hip hop down here, but we need it. We need more jazz. I mean, hip hop and jazz music together is the perfect blend. And I can think of so many artists who are capable of doing that, like a tribe called Quest, Q-Tip. That's one of my favorites. The perfect blend mix of jazz and hip hop together. So
oh,
yes. Joe Block Chords, welcome if you're just coming in, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Russell Alexander Hall, and we are taking your questions. If you have any questions, you can put them in the bubble below, or you can put them in the comments down, whatever works for you. But we're talking about the future of jazz music because we are, as you guys can see, the months are dwindling down. Before you know it, fast forward 2023 will be here. And we look up and it's a whole new category of music when it pertains to jazz and so many different things. So things are changing. So we just have to get with the time. Let me see. I think we just about covered it all. If you don't have any more questions while we're waiting on you guys to type them, my last question for you is what is next for Russell in the future? Because I see so much more in the future for you coming and big, even more collaborations with big names in the music industry for jazz and R&B and so much more. Where do you see yourself in the future for 23?
oh man, well I really want. There's a bunch. I have like a long laundry list of artists I want to collaborate with in the future. A big one that's always popped up has been Lenny Kravitz. I really
Oh, I,
collaborate with him on something. Um, and I mean, there's just so many incredible artists that I'm like, man, I wish I could. Erica Badu is another big one for me that I would love to hook up her music. I would love to figure her stuff out and pick her brain. People, and people like Mark Riboulet. It's so many artists that I haven't gotten to play with. Herbie Hancock is
oh,
huge now. I'm like,
yeah.
man, yeah, at least one time. Um, so yeah, that's the trajectory for it for the present, present future, not just the future, because the future is limitless, but present future. If I could hook up with Herbie, Lenny, and Erica, that would be it. Not that would hook me. That would hook up my life right there. I'd, I'd be a very happy man musically, and then also like developing as a leader. But a lot of what I've learned as a musician is that you are everything all at once. You never stop being everything all at once. And some months you're doing your own thing. Some months you're on vacation. Some months you're,
That
scoring.
balance.
It changes so often at this point, and it's done this since I've been a musician. That it's really just about being malleable at this point. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Fashion Dolls, I don't see any more questions. I'm going to let Russell close it out. Is there any announcements you want to make and let everyone know where they can follow you and check out the
I,
upcoming projects? Because you listed a lot earlier.
well, I have a big announcement, which is I'm bringing my band to Minton's in Harlem on Friday. So, whoever's still watching, come out to Minton's. We got set at 7 and 9, and it's gonna be a party. So make your way out to Minton's. I'm also doing stuff in Brooklyn at Bar Lunatico, where I've had a residency for the past year. So come out to Bar Lunatico, and we're doing stuff there, and you know, let's make it happen.
All right. All right, Fashion Dolls. Let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out.
Just follow me right there, Russell Alexander Hall.
All right, Fashion Dolls. Please go out and check out Russell and support. Russell, your energy is magic, and best wishes, Adrian.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. This has been such a inspiring interview, and it's great to talk to you. You're such a poised and bespoke interviewee, and so interviewer. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. It's such an honor coming from you, and it's a pleasure to have you here. I definitely would love, because we had this planned in the works. Me and Russell was conversating. So I'm like Beyonce. See, Beyonce does stuff up under the works, and she just, boom, she just drops it on you. I'm the same way. Me and Russell been had this plan, so it's such a pleasure to see you again and have you back on.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
You too. Definitely head on out. Go and check it out. Brooklyn, Harlem, Russell Alexander Hall. Please go and check him out. He is dope. And you won't be disappointed. I love you all, Fashion Jaws. And thank you, Ethan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Joining me tomorrow, we have some more music in the house. We have John Nicholson and we have Sean Red tomorrow. And I will see you guys. Russia, it was a pleasure catching up with you.
Pleasure all mine. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You guys take care, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, TGIF. I love you all, and y'all be safe.